So I'm here with Carolina, and we're going to do a quick upper body strengthening and stretch routine. And I really love upper body strength. It's something that I worked on my whole life, and it makes all the arm balances and those sorts of things a lot easier. That's not to say this will be easy, but over time, if you go really slowly and focus on the things we're going to talk about during this sequence, you will build tremendous upper body strength, which will help a lot. So you're going to need 2 blocks and a strap. Carolina's going to modify a good amount of things. It's important to modify around any places where you're struggling in upper body strength. So if you're muscling it, it's very injurious to your shoulders and your wrists and not at all worth it. So modify along with her if you feel like you're pushing a little bit too hard. Okay, so you're going to start just seated. Just seated in Sukhasana, and if Sukhasana isn't comfortable for you, you can kneel instead. That's perfectly fine. Right, you're going to take your block, and it's just one of those that, although it's very hard, it's completely worth doing. So you're going to put your block the wide way between your hands, and then you're going to reach your block out in front of you just at shoulder height. And then have your fingertips off the end. It's tempting to hold the block with your fingers instead of your palms. So press your palms strongly into the block, especially the inner part of your palm right below your thumb and index finger. And then roll your outer arms down towards the floor as you continue to press through that part of your hand. And then pull your chest just wide and up through your inner arms. So your collarbones broaden out and you feel the rounding in your upper back go away. And then really slowly, as you inhale, start to take your arms up overhead. And there'll be a place where you kind of get stuck, where the rest of your spine is going to change shape. So if it's in front of your ears, stay there. If you can get your arms all the way back by your ears, go to that point. And then once you're at the edge, where you can sit up tall still and your elbows are straight, pause. Press your palms strongly into the block again, especially the inner edge. Firm your outer arms in and roll your outer arms forward towards the front of your mat. And you should feel a lot of space across the base of your neck. Okay? And then start to reach your block up. Reach it straight up away from whatever angle your arms are at. And then breathe. And if your arms are shaking, you're probably doing it right. Okay? Now squeeze your outer arms in, and this part is not easy. Your elbows are going to want to flare out to the sides. Keep them hugged in alongside your cheeks. And slowly start to bend your elbows, bringing your block back towards your shoulder blades. Pause when you feel like your elbows are going to puff out to the sides. And if that's only just a little bend, fine. If you can bend all the way back, bend all the way back. And then once you're at your edge, press your palms into the block again. Wrap your outer arms forward. Hug them in until they're shoulder distance apart. And then now reach up through your elbows. Good. Feel the sides of your waist lengthen out again. Find a little zipping up of your lower belly. And then inhale, bring your block all the way back up. And then set it off to the side. That'll be the end of that one. I can't do that one much more than that myself. Right? So from here, come forward onto all fours. And once you're on all fours, take your 2 blocks and just place them shoulder distance apart in front of you on the tallest setting. And then take a strap, and you're going to make a loop out of it that measures from the head of one arm bone to the other, so that when it comes across, it's not to the outer edges of your shoulders. It's actually from the tops of your arm bones, side to side. And then you'll put that just above your elbows. And then you'll come to all fours from there. Okay, so fingertips right behind the blocks. Knees right underneath your hips. Have your knees and feet hip distance apart. Right, now press into the floor and think about what you were just doing with the block. Wrap your outer arms back, and your strap might get a little bit loose. That's okay. Firm your outer arms in and widen your collarbones through your upper arms. Right, and then shoulders right over your wrists. Hug your legs together. Hollow your lower belly up towards your spine a little bit. And then from here, stretch one leg back and then the other and end up in plank pose. Okay? Once you're in plank pose, push the floor away from you. Carolina's going to keep her knees down. If you can keep your knees up, keep them up really straight, pushing back through your heels, pulling your chest wide through your arms. And hollow your lower belly out, and then breathe. It's not easy, stay. Right. And then from here, drop your knees down, take a little rest if they're up, and then if your knees are already down on the floor, you're actually going to move your knees forward about 2 inches further than they are. And then from here, if your knees are down, press them back up and come back into plank pose. So if your knees are down, your shoulders are past your wrists already. If they're up, walk your toes in a little closer to your hands. Shift your shoulders beyond your wrists. Pull your belly in. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bend your elbows until the heads of your shoulders hit the blocks. Right? And then once you're there, you can let your shoulder heads rest on the blocks. Squeeze your legs together. Press through your heels to straighten your knees if your legs are off the floor. Belly in. Now get your chest wide like you were doing when you were holding your block overhead. Push the floor down strongly with your hands. Take a breath in. As you exhale, 1/4 of an inch, try to hover your shoulders up off of the blocks. Good. Inhale, lower yourself back down 1/4 of an inch onto the blocks. Exhale, push yourself up, hold. Inhale, lower yourself back down. Again, exhale, push yourself up, belly in, work your legs. Inhale, lower. Last time, exhale, push yourself halfway up, hold. Take 3 breaths. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Gaze forward, belly in. And then drop your knees down. Inhale, push yourself up into plank. And then sit back on your heels, and you can get rid of your strap. Okay, so not easy, chaturanga push-ups. That effort of pushing away from the floor is something you're going to keep throughout. So now you can move your blocks off to the side. All right, and then from here, come into downward facing dog. So now we're going to do those dynamically on the breath, chaturanga push-ups like you usually do in class, but we're going to move a lot slower than usual. So from down dog, spread your fingers, anchor your hands down into the floor. Firm your outer arms in. Think about when you were holding your block. Roll your outer arms down as you firm them in. Now from here, inhale, come forward into plank pose. Once your shoulders are over your wrist, really straighten your knees again. Belly in, chest forward, gaze forward. Shift your shoulders past your wrists. Drop your knees if you had before. As you exhale, begin to bend your elbows inch by inch. Think about trying not to change anything else but that bend in your elbows. Inhale, push straight back up into plank. Exhale, pull your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Good. Again, inhale, come forward into plank pose. Shoulders over your wrists, then take them beyond, knees down. If you're dropping, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank pose, straight line. Exhale, pull yourself back from your hips, down dog. One more time. Inhale, come on forward. Exhale, lower slowly down. Inhale, push straight up. Exhale, pull yourself up and back. Drop your knees down. Sit back into child's pose. Okay. So we're going to do a similar little hold to plank, except we'll do it on our forearms now. So just a different set of muscles across your chest. All right, here we go. So up onto your forearms, and rather than having them shoulder distance apart, interlace your fingers today, no matter what. Put your elbows right underneath your shoulders. And then pull your chest wide. Now think about firming your elbows in like you did when you were bending your elbows and taking the block down towards your shoulder blades. And then reach one leg back and the other and come into forearm plank. And then once you're there, if you want to drop your knees for this as well, if you're struggling, then drop your knees. It's perfectly fine. Press your heels back if your knees are up. Hollow your lower belly out. Pull your chest wide. Push the floor strongly down with your forearms and your elbows. Keep gazing forward and breathe. And then just a little added degree of difficulty. Pick your right foot up an inch up off of the mat. Reach through your heel. If your knees are down, just straighten your right knee out and push your heel back as if you were just doing forearm plank on the right side. Put your right foot back down. Pick your left foot up and hold it. Breathe. Good. Put your left foot down. Drop your knees down. Sit yourself back into child's pose. And then from there, roll yourself up. You're going to swing your legs around in front of you. So last little bit of arm work. It's going to be a little different. It's kind of my made-up version that I do with a lot of my clients at home. So I get a lot of requests for the backs of the arms. And chaturanga done well does do some tricep work, but especially on the way back up. But we're going to do a little added version. So you can put your hands behind you, shoulder distance apart. Have your fingers facing forward. Right? Feet on the floor, hip distance apart. And have them a decent distance in front of you so that when you lift up, your knees don't pass your ankles. Right? Squeeze your elbows in. Lift your chest up wide through your arms. And then from here, inhale, lift your hips up away from the floor. They don't have to come up terribly high.
Okay, now once you're here, squeeze your elbows in. As you exhale, bend your elbows just a little bit until you feel the backs of your arms, the fronts of your arms working together. And then inhale, push your elbows straight again. Good, push them really straight, squeeze the backs of your arms. Exhale, bend them. Inhale, firm them straight. Exhale, bend them down again. Keep your chest wide. Inhale, firm them straight. 2 more times. Exhale, bend your elbows. Inhale, straighten them out. Last time, exhale, bend them. Inhale, straighten. And then exhale, set yourself all the way down. All right, cross your ankles and just come to seated again. So you can, again, sit on a block if it's not comfortable to sit here. I'm going to stretch everything out we just did. Right, so just a stretch for your deltoid, or the top of your right arm. So you'll take your right arm across your body, hold it with your left, and just pull your arm across your torso until you find a stretch in your right shoulder. Keep your right shoulder away from your ear, otherwise it won't really be in the right place. And then just long, even breaths, even here. And then do the other side. Loop your left arm, drag it across until the top of your left shoulder starts to stretch. Keep your elbows straight and your shoulder down. And then a stretch for the backs of your arms. So reach your arms up overhead. Bend your right elbow. Put your right hand on the back of your neck. Grab your right elbow with your left hand. And then reach up through your right elbow. And if this is already stretching, stay here. If it's not quite stretching yet, start to take your right elbow behind your head, reaching it over to the left some until the back of your right arm stretches or your tricep stretches. And the more you force your right elbow into a deeper bend, the more you'll stretch as you do this. So you can use your left thumb to bend your arm a little further. These are all my fancy schmancy gymnastic stretches. Old school style. And then do the other side. Bend your left elbow, bring your hand down towards the back of your neck, grab your elbow with your right hand, and then as you bend it, using your right thumb to bend your forearm in towards your tricep or towards your bicep, then you can take your elbow a little bit behind your head and across towards the right side of your mat. Okay, keep sitting up tall and breathing. And then undo that and come forward to all fours. So last couple stretches we're going to do will be arms behind your back. So once you're on all fours, just lower yourself all the way down to the mat. So if you know that interlacing your fingers behind your back is challenging for you, then you're going to take a strap and you'll use that. Okay, so first, just curl your toes under, point your toenails into the floor, straighten your knees, and then interlace your fingers behind your back or put the strap between your hands if it's difficult to straighten your elbows out. And then on an inhale, lift your shoulders, your chest, your head up off of the floor. Just arching into your upper back, spreading your collarbones wide. Anchor your pelvis and your toes down into the mat so that you have a strong lower body to stretch your upper body open. Right. And then lower yourself back down. Right, so last one. And stretch your arms out to the sides. If you have tighter shoulders, put the strap in your right hand. Turn your left palm up to the ceiling. And then from there, you'll roll yourself over to the left. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor like you would for bridge pose. Reach your right arm up behind your back and either drop the strap from the top hand to your bottom hand or interlace your fingers. And you'll have to do a little wiggling around. You can either keep your head held up, or if it doesn't bother your neck, you can put it down. It bugs mine, so I keep my head up. And then it should just probably be a stretch in your left shoulder at this point. Make sure that you're not arching your lower back, let the back of your pelvis feel heavy into the floor. And then undo your fingers. Reach your arms back out like a T. And you'll do the other side. So reach your right arm straight out to the side. Turn your palm up to the ceiling. Roll yourself over to the right. Put your feet on the floor like bridge pose. Reach your left arm up. Take it behind your back. Do that moment to wiggle. I always can't find my bottom hand. And then once you're there, straighten your arms. Let the back of your pelvis be heavy into the floor, and you're just looking to stretch. It'll be more in your right shoulder than your left here. And then undo that. Roll yourself back over, push yourself back up, and then lie yourself down on your back. And then once you're down on your back, just set up for Shavasana. So just a few minutes. So the upper body strength is really, really great for a lot of reasons. The stretching is great too. It undoes a lot of what you spend most of your day doing, lying or sitting in the car, driving, carrying things, your desk, all of those things. So doing it is completely worth it, but then a little rest after. So lie back into Shavasana. Stretch your arms out to the sides. Close your eyes. Just take a moment to soften yourself down into the floor, to let your breath return back to its normal pattern. Just to let your mind settle on your inhale as it moves in, your exhale as it moves out. Try to concentrate on that with the same amount of effort that you put into concentrating on the poses. Shavasana. And then wiggle your fingers and toes. Let your breath deepen. And when you feel ready, make your way back up to seated. And once you're seated, sit up tall and rest your hands on your legs for a moment. And let your chest spread wide from all the stretching and strengthening that you did. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. And then join your hands together in front of your heart. Lift your chest up and bow your chin down. And then look up.